Hi, and welcome to this gear video. So Bo Burnham's newest Netflix special, Inside, has been out for a couple months now. I watched it about a month ago, and I noticed there was a lot of gear that I recognized, and some of it I even had laying around. And even though the video's been out for a couple months now, I haven't really seen a video made that shows his exact gear setup. So as a lover of music gear and video gear and lighting equipment, I figured I would make my own video. I'm going to have links to all these items in the description below. A lot of it came from Amazon. Some of it you can find on eBay, some of it's discontinued stuff. So here we go. First is the camera. The camera is a Panasonic Lumix SH1. I'm not very familiar with Panasonic stuff. I'm more of a Sony guy myself, but from what I've read, this is the first and only Netflix approved mirrorless camera. I love my Sonys, but it kind of sucks that the A7S III isn't approved. I mean, it's really nice. Whatever. The SH1 does shoot up to 6K footage at 24 frames per second, and that probably helped out a lot with all the zoomed in shots. I don't think he used any kind of slider or dolly. Everything looks like it was digitally zoomed in post. You can see the camera mounted in a few shots, and it's always direct to the tripod. It's never on a slider, so I really don't think he used a slider. So his monitor of choice is the Neewer F100. It's a pretty cheap monitor. It's a HDMI input. I actually have the older version of it, and this thing's been around since 2016, and it still works, and I still use it pretty often, actually. Never really upgraded to the newer one, even though the newer one looks brighter and higher resolution. So as for lenses, he's using the Sigma art lenses. You can get these lenses in L mount, and it looks like he has the 50mm as well as a couple wider angle lenses. He might also use the 35 and maybe an 85, but you can clearly see the 50mm box in a few shots. I used to have the 35mm Art Series lens for my Sony, and it was one of the sharpest lenses I ever used. So if you're looking for a setup, I really recommend those Sigma lenses. For the shots where you could see the entire room, I imagine he used the 14 to 24 or even a 20mm. And even on All Eyes on Me, when he grabs the camera, that was definitely a wider angle shot. So I really feel like that was at 14mm. As for video editing software, you can see Final Cut Pro on his laptop towards the end of the video when he's going through and doing a little montage thing. Final Cut Pro is only for Apple users. It's a really awesome program. It's actually what I started editing with recently for a few reasons, but you could also see some Adobe icons on his laptop, so he might have used Premiere. I'm sure he has the entire creative suite for Adobe. When you're a creator, it's sometimes nice to jump back and forth, but I'm going to assume that it was mostly edited in Final Cut because it is a nice program. Premiere seems to not want to do high-res stuff in my experience. When I was trying to edit 4K footage with the Sony A7S III, Premiere just did not want to even budge. You had to render everything out, but anyway, that's a topic for another video. As for music software, it looks like he's using Logic Pro in at least one shot. Logic Pro is only for Apple users. It's a really nice music program. Pretty easy to get started with. It only costs $200. Compared to other DAWs, it's actually a pretty good value. As for laptops, it looks like he's using a MacBook Pro. I imagine that he went with the 16-inch and also went with the upgraded RAM and also got the extra storage. When you have a bunch of different programs, especially with music plugins, you really need the extra space. Again, if he's editing 8K footage, you want to have the latest and greatest to edit that footage. As for musical instruments, there's a lot used in the special. We're not going to talk about stands and stuff like that. So for the main keyboard in the special, it looks like he's using an M-Audio Oxygen 49-key USB MIDI controller. It's the Model 4, and again, a very affordable piece of gear compared to most. I think this is $139 for one of these. I actually just ordered one of these a few days ago because I really want to have a nice USB keyboard, and at $139, it wasn't bad. The main piano is a bit higher end. It's the Yamaha P255, which was around $2,000 when it came out, but they're currently discontinued. You can find them on eBay and Reverb and probably at Guitar Center in the used department. They seem to be a very common piano, and they're really nice. There's also a third keyboard that's laying in the corner of the room in a bunch of different shots. It might have just been for decoration. I'm not sure if it was used in any songs or not, but that one was actually really hard to figure out. It looked really familiar to me, but I couldn't figure out what it was. So I actually used Google image search and took a picture of my screen. Kind of creepy. I felt really creepy trying to figure that one out because I'm taking pictures of a screen and I don't know. This whole thing might be creepy. But anyway, it wound up being a Yamaha PSR E243, which is kind of a beginner piano. They're a little cheaper. He might have used this keyboard on a few of the cheesier sounding songs. Not sure. You'd have to ask him. I also spotted a melodica in a couple different shots. A melodica's an air-driven keyboard. You blow into it and just play it. The guitar used on Funny Feeling is a Martin acoustic. From looking at it, I think it's a D10 model. Actually, I used to have some friends with D10s, but I think that this is the D10E, which is a dreadnought acoustic, and it's also electric. Pretty sure the sound on Funny Feeling was a direct guitar sound, and then he was just singing into the mic. There's no mic near the guitar, and it kind of has that direct tone to it. That's why I think it's the electric model. You can kind of see a chord coming from the back of the guitar, too. Pretty sure that was all done live. As for mics, there was a few different ones used. One of the main ones was the Shure SM58. It's kind of like the standard for musicians. If you're a musician or you've played music, you've touched one of these at least once. You might even own one of these. I had this thing laying in a drawer for a long time. I think I bought this when I was like 16 years old. It's pretty much your standard vocal mic, and they always work. And they sound pretty good. Doesn't my voice sound nice and bassy? Speaking of Shure, there was another Shure mic used. That was actually the SM7B, which is this mic right here. You can see the box in the background, and you can also spot the mic in a couple other spots. This is like the main podcaster slash YouTuber voiceover mic. That's actually why I bought this, because I wanted to do some voiceovers for my videos. It's a really nice mic. It's a little more expensive than the SM58, and you do have to run a pretty hot preamp to get any kind of good sound out of this. This mic's been around for years, and Michael Jackson actually recorded Thriller with this thing. Fun fact that I learned when I was researching this mic before I bought it, because I research everything. Another mic that I spotted a lot in this video was the Electro Voice RE20, which I'm not very familiar with. I've never used one that I know of, but he makes it sound awesome, so I kind of want one of those mics now. That one's a little more expensive though, definitely more expensive than the SM58. There's also a couple lav mics used that you really can't identify. Lav mics are really small, and there's no name on the side of them or anything, but I imagine that they were either Shure or Rode. It seemed like he didn't skimp on any of the mic stuff. There's also a couple headphone mounted mics. One of them that I figured out was the Shure WH20, and there was also a headset mic that was on the reaction video for Unpaid Intern. It looked like a gaming headset kind of thing. That was hard to figure out, but you could read on the side of it that it said "Be Excellent," and it seems like that is the model GM3, which is discontinued, but I did find one of those on eBay. There's also a Rode video mic that you can spot before All Eyes on Me. I think that was just a regular Rode video mic, judging by the mount. I actually have one of those laying around. It kind of came from this angle, like that. And you can see the mount. So I'm pretty sure that it was the same model as this one. Another mic that I've had laying around for a while since I've been trying to do video more seriously. He also used a bunch of headphone monitors that you can't really see because his hair covers them up. I'm not sure what models those were. There's a lot of nice ones out there. You could go ahead and assume that he bought some decent ones. The in-ear monitors aren't something that you really want to skimp on. He also used headphones for monitoring. It seemed like the main ones were the Sony MDR 7506s, which I'm actually currently wearing right now. I've had these things forever. They're actually starting to fall apart a little bit. You can redo the cushion and everything on them, but it's just flaking off and leaving little black specks in my ear, so I really need to try to fix that. I spotted some studio monitors. Those were KRK Rockets. I think they're Rocket 5s. It was kind of hard to tell. I actually have the old model of those laying around somewhere when I used to do music recording. For his audio interface, it looks like he's using a Focusrite Scarlett Solo, which is a nice little affordable audio interface. They work really nice. I actually use a Focusrite Scarlett with the 2 inputs for my audio interface, because they're awesome. So that's pretty much all I could find for music stuff that he was using. So now let's get into lights. I love lights like a moth loves lights. I've done a lot of different lighting reviews on this channel, and when I was watching this special for the first time, one of the first lights that I recognized was the GVM panel lights. I have the non-RGB version of these lights, but these are going to be the RGB version. It comes in a kit. You get like 2 of them. I think you can get a 3-pack too. But the GVM lights are really nice. Pretty sure that the GVM lights are the 800D model. You can change the colors on the lights or with an app. It's really user-friendly. On Welcome to the Internet, he uses a Starlight projector. I actually bought one of these recently because I wanted to try to use it for car videography, and I bought a cheaper one. I wish I would have did a little more research before I bought that. But when I was researching this video, I think I figured out which one he was using. The one that I bought, the stars didn't spin, and it seems like a lot of the other ones, the stars don't spin. There's like a million of these light projectors, but the one that I think that he's using, or one that I think does the same exact thing that he's doing, is the Casitas model, Casitas, I don't know. But that model has the spinning stars, so I might actually buy that. It's pretty cheap. It's like $49, I think, $45. And it also has a remote that he's using in the video, so I'm pretty sure that that's the model. One of the coolest setups, I think, was the lights on turning 30. There's several different lights being used. The 120 volt lights that are lighting him from the front are being switched by these cool little green power switches. I found these on Amazon. They're made by Line Master. They're used to switch the 120 volts powering the lights, and you can see him doing it to the beat. It's a really nice effect. As for the lights that he's powering on and off, I'm pretty sure that it's this newer kit. Newer, I don't know how to say it. I'm pretty sure it's that kit because they're 120 volt, and I'm pretty sure that he's putting gels on top of them. You can kind of see the gels on the side of the lights just a little bit. So I'm pretty sure it's that lighting kit. The handheld light is probably a Pixel G1. You can spot that light in a bunch of different shots. It's a rechargeable handheld light, and he just has that on the white setting, and he's holding it behind his back and then kind of lighting himself up. I own a really similar light by a company called Falcon Eyes, but it looks like these Pixel G1s are a little bit smaller, and it has readouts on the front. That's how I was able to identify those. And the campfire flicker on Funny Feeling was probably also done with one of those Pixel G1s. A lot of those little LED panels have different effects to them, and it probably had a flame effect. So for other lights, it looks like he used some RGB bulbs in the overhead lighting in the room that he's playing with on the app during one of the behind-the-scenes shots. This is probably also how he got the blue light on FaceTiming my mom. Can't really identify those lights, but I imagine that they're either Jovi or Philips. When I was looking it up on Amazon, it looked like the Jovi had the most reviews. I've used some Jovi strip lights before, and it's really user-friendly, and it has a really nice app, too. So I'm pretty sure they were Jovi, or Govee. Again, I don't know how to say the name of the company. I also spotted these neat little RGB flood lamps a couple times. These are really cheap from Amazon. I'm pretty sure this is the same model right here. There's also a shot where it looks like he's using a little light by a company called Esco, set on the warmest setting. It looks like a little tea lamp almost because it's so warm. The first headlamp in the beginning of the special is probably this Aliatis thing shining at a big disco ball. This is a pretty interesting looking headlamp. He also used one of these LED strip headbands a little bit later on. There's also a really wide assortment of DJ lights that are being controlled by an American DJ controller. I'm not very familiar with DJ lights and stage lighting in all honesty, but it looks like he's using this 192 channel controller that's discontinued. And I also spotted this light that said B-Topper on the side. Looks like you can do different programs and control these lights. Pretty sure he used the DJ lights in Feeling Like Shit. And I think he also used some wall wash lights. Pretty sure it's this kind of model. The second Bezos song had this really cool party light in the background, kind of like this one. Healing the World with Comedy had a different party light, kind of like this laser light that I found. Pretty sure it's that model. You can kind of see it behind him for a split second, but really not sure because he's kind of blocking it. So for the one skit where he's talking about social justice warriors and branding, it looks like for lighting he is using a Neewer 700 watt professional 24 by 24 softbox kit. It's just a cheap CFL lighting kit. And for a backdrop, it looks like he's using a Neewer backdrop kit. Cheap little way to get a backdrop. It's hard to tell what size he was using. I think it's the 6x10 backdrop, but I found one that was 8.5 by 10 feet, and it was pretty cheap, and it comes with the stands and the backdrop and everything that you need, really. You even get a green screen if you want. The light that's on the other side of him is a Neewer, I still don't know how to say it, ultra thin LED soft light panel with an LCD display. You can clearly see the LCD on the back of it. Another light that was hard to identify was his ring light. It looks like it's a larger model. There's a bunch of different ring lights right now. It might have been something by GVM, but it doesn't look like there's any logos on it. So I'm pretty sure this big one right here is similar enough. I have kind of a smaller model myself. I have a GVM ring light, and I really recommend those. So if you're buying one, I would just buy the GVM. Another interesting note is if you wanted some of the shirts that are on White Woman's Instagram, you can buy all those on Amazon too, like the May Contain Wine and some of the other ones. I was curious, and I looked it up, and you can find them on there, just in case you want one of those shirts. So there was a couple items that I really could not figure out for the life of me. One was the projector, and the other thing I couldn't figure out was spotlighting. So while I was editing, it popped in my head that Mr. Burnham does like YouTube. So I went up searching on YouTube for projectors, and one of the first videos that popped up was a video on a projector made by Ape Man. It's only $80 for this projector. I thought he would have went a little higher end with it, so that really speaks how nice this projector is. So I think I'm actually going to order one of these projectors because I have a few ideas for car videography that involve projectors, partially inspired by Bo Burnham. And the other thing I really couldn't figure out was all the spotlights. So I wound up searching spotlights on YouTube, and I wound up finding a couple that I'm pretty sure was what he was using. The smaller light is going to be a pen spotlight, I think. It's 15 watts. You have RGB function in it, and I'm pretty sure that's how he was getting the blue lights when he was doing some blue spotlighting. So the big spotlight, I think, is a Leco light. It's like a stage light kind of thing. It has a spot in the front where you can put different diffusers, and you can actually make shapes with it. So I think that's how he got the cross shape in Problematic. You can put different gels, too, for different colors. But I think he used a smaller light for the colored spotlight effects, and then only used this Leco light for the big stuff. At least that's my theory. The Leco light is pretty expensive, especially compared to some of the other stuff. I don't even think you can buy it new on Amazon, but there's one used and it's $350. There's a couple different brands of these Leco lights, so I'm not sure if he got the LED version. Like there's a Chauvet and some other ones. So yeah, after I figured those out, I feel a lot more confident about this video being a little more awesome and a little more thorough because those were some really important pieces of gear. So let me get back to editing. There's like a billion different models of projectors out right now. You can find so many of them on Amazon and Best Buy and just everywhere you can buy a projector. I feel like I could buy one at the gas station right now. If you find one that's bright, that has a 1/4 inch mount and an HDMI input, then it's probably going to get you that same effect. And one of the last items that I couldn't figure out was the mic that's being used on White Woman's Instagram. I don't know if that's a cheap mic or an expensive one, but it's like this bright silver and you can kind of see the diaphragm through the mesh. I think it might be a Sontronics STC2, which is a mic I'm not very familiar with, but that was one of the only silver mics that I could find that might fit the bill of what he was using it for. So this is all the gear I could spot. And I only had to watch the video 37 times and go through about 1,000 pages of Amazon and Google. And I really just made this video so I could kind of help out my fellow gear whores. But the special really proves that you don't need $1 million budget to make something great. All you really need is an idea, a camera, a god tier level of creativity and talent, and an Amazon Prime account. If you think I missed anything or got anything wrong, please comment below and let me know. I feel like the description and comments could be a good reference for people who are inspired by certain looks and might want to replicate it in their own videos and their own personal projects. So if you figured something out that I couldn't figure out, please share it with the rest of the group. That would be awesome. Even for me, I really want to know what those spotlights were. I know not everyone liked the special, but if you're watching this video, you probably did. I really feel like it was one of the best things on Netflix that I've seen in a long time. I almost got rid of my Netflix subscription recently, but I'm glad I didn't. It was funny. The songs were amazing. The social commentary was on point, and just everything about it. I just loved it. I really do. The creativity with the lighting is something that I haven't really seen in a long time, especially with somebody just doing something by themselves. And the lighting just blew my mind. That was really inspirational to me as somebody who tries to create things. I'm usually stuck in a room by myself, like right now, just trying to create something, or I'm at my garage by myself. It really was a great representation of what it's like to be creative, and it was also a good view of what it's like to have anxiety and depression and existential dread and just getting older and not feeling like you've gotten enough done and just trying to deal with 2020 and society as a whole, and especially dealing with 2020. I really feel like it captured the moment, and hopefully nobody ever replicates this because I really don't want anything like 2020 to happen ever again. And if for some reason you're Bo Burnham and you're watching this, thanks, man. Like, this is a really awesome special. It really changed me, I think. Maybe. I don't know. And also, I'm sorry for making a reaction video that's basically a reaction video to your reaction video. I know you were making fun of YouTubers, but
I'm stopping this.
And also let me know what gear I got wrong. I'm sorry for misquoting you or anything. Like I said, very inspirational, and I'll stop riding your nuts now. And for anybody who's not Bo Burnham, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you spending some time with me. I hope you were entertained at least a little bit too. I really love you guys, and I'll see you soon. Hey everybody, I just wanted to make a really quick video to say thank you. Thank you for watching my content. As you guys know, I work really hard to try to bring you guys high quality content that I think you'll enjoy. So the fact that you are enjoying it means everything to me. So thank you. And also, keep watching, because there's a lot more content where that came from. Alright guys, see you later.